This is the most ingenious, mind-blowing bank robbery the world has ever seen. Not because of how much they stole, but because of how they pulled it off. A flawless plan that left the cops completely baffled. And it all starts with Dalton Russell, staring you down and saying,
"Recently, I planned a perfect bank robbery."
Dalton and his team arrive at Manhattan Trust Bank, blending into the bustling Wall Street morning disguised as painters. Wearing overalls and carrying paint cans, they look so ordinary that no one gives them a second glance.
Thank you.
As Dalton steps into the bank, his calm demeanor masks the chaos about to unfold. Within seconds, he disables the security cameras with practiced precision, and his team efficiently locks the doors, trapping everyone inside. The first wave of panic ripples through the bank as employees and customers alike are forced to the ground at gunpoint. The robbers' swift and controlled movements make it clear they've done this before, or at least planned for every contingency. Outside, a police officer notices smoke pouring out of the bank. Uncertain whether it's an accident or something more sinister, he cautiously approaches, only for Dalton to appear at the door. In a chillingly composed tone, Dalton announces,
"I have got hostages,"
and will not hesitate to kill them if the police come any closer. The officer immediately radios for backup.
Central, give me an 85. Perp with a gun, possible hostages.
And soon the bank is surrounded by a fleet of police cars, their sirens cutting through the tense Manhattan air. The growing crowd of onlookers adds to the pressure as news of the heist spreads like wildfire. Meanwhile, Arthur Case, the powerful owner of Manhattan Trust Bank, receives the news of the robbery.
Sir, there's a robbery in progress at one of our branches.
Normally unshakable, Arthur's reaction betrays his unease. His hands tremble slightly as he processes the implications of the situation. It's not just the robbery that concerns him, it's what's inside the bank. Arthur quickly contacts Madeline White, a sharp and calculating fixer known for her ability to handle delicate matters with ruthless efficiency. He demands her help in protecting a specific safety deposit box.
You tell me. I don't need to know what's in that box.
One that contains a family heirloom of immense personal and financial value. If the contents are exposed, it could ruin everything, Arthur hints. But when Madeline presses for details, he remains evasive. She warns him that if he lies or withholds critical information,
"What's inside that box, young lady, has belonged to me."
their deal will be off. Reluctantly, Arthur agrees, though the tension in his voice suggests he's hiding more than he's letting on. At the scene of the heist, two experienced hostage negotiation detectives, Keith Frazier and Bill Mitchell, are introduced. Detective Frazier, sharp-eyed and unflappable, is eager to prove himself after facing recent scrutiny over a missing evidence fund. His partner Mitchell balances Frazier's intensity with a more pragmatic approach. As they rush to the scene, Captain Darius briefs them on the unfolding crisis.
"Unknown number of suspects and an unknown number of hostages,"
he admits grimly, emphasizing the complexity of the situation. The lack of information adds another layer of uncertainty to an already volatile standoff. Inside the bank, Dalton and his team execute their plan with unnerving precision. First, they divide the hostages into two groups, employees and customers. Asserting control over the situation, Dalton demands all phones and keys be handed over.
"Cell phones and your keys out of your pocket."
When one employee nervously claims he left his phone at home, Dalton coolly searches his office and finds it, revealing the lie.
"Okay, I f***ed up. I'm sorry. Please."
Without hesitation, Dalton beats the man in full view of the other hostages, sending a clear message. Disobedience will not be tolerated. The room falls silent as everyone absorbs the lesson, and another man hurriedly hands over his keys, his hands shaking. Dalton then delivers a command that shocks everyone. He orders all hostages to strip down to their underwear and don identical jumpsuits and masks provided by his team.
"You to put on one of these suits and these masks."
The effect is immediate. Any visual distinctions between robbers and hostages are erased. Fear and confusion ripple through the room as people glance nervously at one another, realizing they are now part of a ploy to blur the line between victims and perpetrators. Dalton watches the scene with steely detachment, knowing that every detail of his plan is falling perfectly into place. An elderly bank employee, pale and clutching his chest, begins to complain of a heart condition. His labored breathing and trembling hands catch the attention of the robbers, who exchange quick, calculating glances. Dalton, assessing the situation, allows the man to leave, knowing a medical emergency could complicate their plans. As the man stumbles out of the bank and into the custody of the waiting police, the officer sees the opportunity to interrogate him. Still visibly shaken, the elderly man describes what he saw inside.
"There are 4 of them,"
he says, his voice quivering.
"That was the only thing I ever took."
And they mean business. They'll kill 2 hostages if you make a move. His words heighten the tension at the command center. The police quickly notice observations, but can't ignore the possibility that the man's account might be incomplete or influenced by fear. Meanwhile, inside the bank, Dalton and his team move with purpose, navigating the corridors past the safe and rows of safety deposit boxes. They aren't looting or smashing valuables, which puzzles both the hostages and the police monitoring from outside. Instead, the robbers focus on some kind of enigmatic activity in a storage room. Their precise movements suggest this is the real target of the heist, though no one can yet piece together what they're after. At the command center, Captain Darius briefs Fraser and Mitchell on the latest developments. The elderly hostage's testimony offers some insight, but it's far from the full picture. Adding to their frustration, the surveillance footage inside the bank is useless. The robbers had disabled the cameras within moments of entry. "We're flying blind," Darius admits as the tension in the room thickens. Mitchell, eager for a lead, turns his attention to the robbers' getaway van.
That hostage they let out said these guys came in dressed like painters, right?
Parked nearby, he begins dusting for fingerprints, though he suspects the vehicle is stolen and unlikely to yield anything useful. Fraser, growing restless, decides to call the bank. As the phone rings, the officers hold their breath, but Dalton doesn't even glance at it. The sound of the unanswered phone is almost mocking. Moments later, the robbers release another hostage, this time
Answer me, Vikram. Is this a bomb? Are you
tying a note to his chest. The police scramble to secure the man, but chaos erupts when they misidentify him as a potential threat. Stereotyping him as an Arabic terrorist, the officers tackle and cuff him, drawing attention from the crowd of onlookers. After lunch and a heated exchange, the man is finally questioned. He angrily confirms the robbers' head count, 4, and estimates there are 20 to 30 hostages still inside. The officers, embarrassed but focused, add his testimony to their growing dossier on the situation. The note tied to the released hostage ramps up the stakes. It demands 2 buses and a jetliner by 9 p.m., threatening to kill 1 hostage every hour if their demands aren't met. To add further weight to their threat, Dalton claims the bank is rigged with plastic explosives. Fraser, however, is unconvinced.
"We're not giving them anything,"
he tells his team.
Till I talk to them, they get nothing, not even a cup of coffee.
His calm demeanor hiding the weight of the decision. Not until we have direct communication with their leader. His resolve strengthens the team's focus even as the clock ticks down. As if the situation weren't already complicated, Arthur Case, the powerful owner of Manhattan Trust Bank, arrives unannounced at the police command center. Dressed impeccably despite his visible anxiety, Case offers to arrange a plane for the robbers, raising more than a few eyebrows. Fraser and the other officers are immediately suspicious.
"Why are you here? And why do you care so much?"
Where can we reach you if we need anything?
Darius asks pointedly, but Case dodges the question. Instead, he insists on the importance of resolving this situation quickly and discreetly before being escorted out. Back inside the bank, the robbers make another move, requesting food for the hostages. For Fraser, this is the opportunity they've been waiting for. While ensuring the delivery appears routine, the police prepare to smuggle in a listening device with the food. Hoping to finally get a glimpse of what's happening behind the locked doors, the robbers choose pizza for the food delivery, figuring the communal meal will encourage the hostages to gather and talk, providing them with a morale boost. Outside, the police scramble to take advantage of the situation.
The pizzas are okay, they might be a little cold.
An officer handling the wiretaps suggests planting a pen-shaped digital recorder inside the delivery box, capable of capturing 30 seconds of audio. It's a small but potentially crucial window into the robbers' operation.
You click it and it'll record for half an hour.
Meanwhile, tensions escalate inside the bank. One defiant hostage challenges the robbers, perhaps hoping to rally the others, but it backfires spectacularly. Dalton calmly orders his team to make an example of him.
Put your mask on!
The man is dragged through the various rooms, his cries echoing and silencing the other hostages. After parading him around, they lock him in a storage room, his act of bravery swiftly neutralized. When the pizza delivery arrives, the police carefully plant the recording device. The robbers receive the food without suspicion, and the officers eagerly await the results. However, when they listen to the recording, they're greeted by a surprise. It's not English, but what appears to be Russian. The detectives immediately turn to the released hostages, asking if anyone overheard conversations in Russian. While this unfolds, the robbers stay one step ahead, cleverly rotating the hostages from room to room and mixing them up. This constant shuffling keeps the police guessing about the hostages' locations and identities. Adding another layer of deception, one of the robbers disguises themselves as a hostage and seamlessly blends into the first group. Frustrated but determined, Detective Fraser digs into the mystery of the recorded language. A Russian-speaking officer listens carefully, but quickly debunks the theory. It's not Russian. Fraser, always thinking on his feet, decides to play the recording over a loudspeaker outside the bank.
Play that over the speaker for me, excuse me.
Hoping someone in the crowd might recognize the language.
Does anybody know what language they're speaking?
Amid the murmurs of the gathered onlookers, a construction worker steps forward, claiming he recognizes it.
That's Albanian.
he says confidently, noting it sounds like the language his ex-wife spoke.
My ex-wife and her parents are Albanian.
Intrigued, Fraser has the police track her down. She agrees to help, but only after negotiating to have her mounting parking tickets dismissed. With no other leads, Fraser begrudgingly agrees. The woman listens to the recording and bursts into laughter.
What's so funny?
She reveals that it's not a conversation at all, but a speech by Enver Hoxha, the former communist leader of Albania. The robbers had fed the police a decoy, using a random recording to derail their efforts. Fraser, though frustrated, can't help but respect the robbers' cunning.
These guys are smarter than your average crooks,
he mutters to Mitchell.
So they're playing tapes wars now.
Inside the bank, Dalton and one of his accomplices make their move. They open the vault and retrieve what they've been after all along, a specific set of documents. Alongside the papers, they take bags of diamonds and a box of valuables. Dalton carefully pockets the documents, the true target of the heist, while his partner seals the box, ensuring their haul appears untouched. Around this time, the mayor of New York arrives at the command center with Madeline White, the enigmatic fixer Arthur Case hired. Madeline explains her involvement in vague terms.
Seems to have walked away from the magic out of check cashing bust.
Her calm demeanor masking her sharp intelligence. Detective Fraser, unimpressed and wary of her motives, resists her attempts to meddle. The tension between them rises as the mayor and Madeline subtly hint at consequences if Fraser doesn't cooperate. Fraser's instincts tell him she's hiding something, but he has no choice but to tread carefully. Later, Dalton finally picks up the phone, initiating direct contact with Fraser. Their conversation brims with tension as Dalton reiterates his demands and threatens to kill hostages if they aren't met. Fraser probes, trying to glean any useful information, but Dalton remains frustratingly opaque, clearly stalling for time. What Fraser doesn't realize is that Dalton is toying with him, enjoying the psychological chess game.
You get me what I want, I won't kill anyone.
In a bid to extend the standoff and keep the hostages safe, Fraser offers more food. Dalton plays along, this time requesting burgers, and the police begin preparing their next move. Meanwhile, the robbers work methodically, completing the digging of a hole in the storage room, a critical component of their intricate plan. Every move is calculated, every action deliberate, with Dalton overseeing every detail like a maestro conducting an orchestra. Outside, the police remain clueless about what's unfolding beneath their feet.
Read the book too, and they know exactly what we're gonna do.
After his cryptic phone call with Fraser, Dalton shifts his attention to a new player in the game, Madeline White. Madeline, ever the persuasive negotiator, manages to convince Dalton to meet with her face-to-face inside the bank. It's a bold move, but one she executes with her characteristic calm and confidence. Upon entering the bank, she is meticulously searched by the robbers before being escorted to Dalton. Their conversation is an intense game of wits. Madeline offers Dalton a tempting deal.
I made you such a sweet offer. I really don't think you have much in the way of alternatives.
A short prison sentence and $2 million waiting for him upon his release. In exchange for the contents of a specific safety deposit box, the stakes of her offer are clear, but Dalton is unimpressed. He leans forward, lowering his voice, and delivers a bombshell. The contents of that box are incriminating documents that reveal Arthur Case's dark past. Case, the esteemed chairman of the bank, collaborated with the Nazis during World War II while working in Switzerland.
With the Nazis to enrich himself while all around him.
The documents expose his role in laundering money.
Then he used his blood money.
And profiting from stolen Jewish assets. Dalton smirks, letting the gravity of his revelations sink in. He makes it clear to Madeline that he doesn't trust her or Arthur Case. The documents aren't just evidence, they're his insurance.
If I get caught,
Dalton says coolly,
those papers will ensure you and your boss keep me alive.
He should have destroyed this a long time ago. He didn't, so now it's mine.
His words leave Madeline visibly unsettled, though she tries to hide it. After leaving the bank, Madeline meets with Fraser. She tells him that Dalton is exceptionally intelligent, and despite his threats, does not appear to be a killer. Fraser listens carefully, his suspicions about Dalton's deeper motives growing. Frustrated by the lack of progress, Fraser decides it's time to bend the rules. He's convinced that Dalton is always one step ahead, and that the usual playbook won't work. Fraser calls Dalton and offers to arrange the plane he demanded, on one condition. Fraser must be allowed inside the bank to check on the hostages. After a tense pause, Dalton agrees.
Meet me at the front door.
Setting the stage for another calculated move. Inside the bank, Dalton escorts Fraser through the chaotic, yet eerily controlled scene. The hostages, still wearing identical jumpsuits and masks, sit in mixed groups. Fraser observes them carefully, noting that they appear unharmed and relatively calm. One hostage stands out to him, a young boy. Fraser pleads with Dalton to release the child.
Let me take the kid.
But Dalton refuses, his tone firm but not aggressive. Before leaving, Fraser makes a bold move. As they near the exit, he attempts to grab Dalton's mask, hoping to reveal his identity.
Help
The room freezes for a moment, tension crackling like electricity. But before Fraser can succeed, another robber intervenes, shoving him back. Dalton, visibly annoyed, reiterates his demands for buses and warns Fraser not to test his patience again. Back in the command truck, Fraser tells Captain Darius that he doesn't believe Dalton is a killer.
He doesn't bite. Why?
He advises the team to hold their position and see what Dalton does next, but Darius grows impatient. The delicate balance of the situation begins to shift. The next phone call from Dalton changes everything. He instructs the police to adjust the surveillance cameras to point at a specific window. What happens next shocks everyone. The police witness Dalton seemingly executing a hostage on live feed. The tension in the command center explodes, and Captain Darius immediately removes Fraser from the case, taking over himself. Under Darius' leadership, the police prepare for a tactical assault on the bank. He orders the use of rubber bullets to minimize casualties, but the risk remains sky high. Mitchell voices his concern, warning that if the operation goes wrong, Fraser will take the fall. Fraser, though sidelined, remains calm. He tells Mitchell that he's made a deal with Madeline, though the specifics remain unclear. As the clock ticks down, the police inch closer to storming the bank, unaware that Dalton is orchestrating every moment to perfection. Just as the tactical raid is about to commence, Fraser makes a crucial discovery. Dalton and his team have been eavesdropping on their every move. Hidden in a supply box, the robbers planted a transmitter to stay one step ahead of the police. Alarmed, Fraser urgently calls Captain Darius to warn him, but Darius, impatient to resolve the standoff, brushes off the warning and orders the operation to proceed as planned. Inside the bank, Dalton hears the police gearing up for the assault. Remaining calm and methodical, he signals his team to execute the final phase of their plan. Smoke bombs are detonated, filling the bank with a thick haze that blinds the tactical unit as they breach the building. Amid the chaos, the robbers blend in seamlessly with the hostages, who are being released en masse. Each person exiting the bank is immediately detained by the police, further complicating efforts to identify the perpetrators. The tactical unit sweeps the bank with precision, clearing every room, including the vault and the storage area. Yet to their astonishment, they find nothing. No robbers, no stolen items, not even the supposed dead hostage who was shot on camera. Adding to the mystery, the police discover that the robbers' weapons were merely replicas, realistic but completely harmless toys.
Gotta be kidding me.
Toys.
The murder, it turns out, was a carefully orchestrated ruse. Outside, the scene grows increasingly chaotic as the released hostages are corralled and taken for questioning. Since everyone is dressed identically, distinguishing between hostages and robbers becomes impossible. Frustrated, Captain Darius declares the case closed, insisting there's nothing left to investigate. But Fraser, ever the tenacious detective, refuses to accept defeat. He knows there's more to the story.
One of the good guys, there we are, back to square one.
Later, while reviewing the case, Fraser uncovers a clue, a reference to a secret safety deposit box tied to Arthur Case. Digging deeper, he begins connecting the dots between the robbery, Madeline White, and Case's suspicious involvement. Seeking answers, Fraser arranges a meeting with Madeline, with evidence of her and the mayor's blackmail in hand. He confronts her, using the leverage to demand information about the elusive deposit box.
You press here to record, and you press here to play.
Madeline, ever the master manipulator, remains composed. She offers a cryptic hint about the box's significance and strongly advises Fraser to let the case go. Meanwhile, Madeline meets with Arthur Case to reassure him that Fraser won't pose a threat. However, she warns that Dalton still holds the incriminating documents as leverage.
Clearly, he has a very low opinion of you.
Case, visibly shaken, confesses the truth about the box's contents. In addition to diamonds and sensitive documents,
Diamonds.
the vault contained a Cartier ring, a piece of jewelry that once belonged to a Jewish man Case betrayed to the Nazis during a World War II in exchange for a fortune. The revelation exposes the depth of Case's guilt and the lengths Dalton went to uncover it. A week after the heist, the genius of Dalton's plan is finally revealed. Hidden behind a false wall constructed in the storage room, Dalton had stayed inside the bank all along. While the police scoured the premises and questioned hostages, Dalton remained in his hideout, calmly waiting for the commotion to subside. With the diamonds, documents, and Cartier rings securely in his possession, he emerges from his hiding spot after a full week. Dressed casually, he walks out the front door of the bank.
Are they coming for me?
Can't say.
Blending in effortlessly with the bustling crowd. It's the perfect exit, executed with surgical precision. Outside the bank, Dalton's accomplices wait discreetly, ready to rendezvous. As Fraser and Mitchell arrive at the scene to execute a court order to open the infamous safety deposit box, Fraser unknowingly brushes past Dalton, who vanishes into the city like a ghost. Inside the vault, Fraser finally opens the mysterious box, only to find its contents both baffling and damning. There's no trace of the documents or the diamonds. Instead, he discovers a single stick of gum, the Cartier ring, and a handwritten note from Dalton. The message is succinct yet provocative. Follow the ring.
Follow the ring.
Fraser holds the note in one hand and the ring in the other, the weight of the mystery pressing down on him. As he pieces together the implications, the true brilliance of Dalton's plan begins to dawn on him. The heist wasn't just about money or diamonds, it was about exposing a decades-old crime and bringing a powerful man to justice. Fraser, determined to uncover the truth, refuses to let the case go. Armed with the Cartier ring and his growing suspicions, he confronts Arthur Case in his opulent office. The once confident banker tries to maintain his composure, but Fraser's relentless questioning leaves him visibly shaken.
Armed robbers laid siege to your bank.
Fraser hints at Case's involvement in something deeply immoral, carefully choosing his words to needle the older man without directly accusing him. When Fraser places the Cartier ring on the desk between them, its silent presence speaks volumes.
"You play a good game, detective,"
she says, her tone laced with reluctant respect. Fraser simply nods, standing tall as he turns to leave the stunned pair behind. In the film's final moments, Fraser returns to his modest apartment. As he removes his jacket, something falls from its pocket, a small diamond. He picks it up, his mind racing. Dalton. Somehow, during their brief encounter at the bank, the master thief had slipped the gem into Fraser's pocket.
Sorry, excuse me.
A parting gift, or perhaps a challenge. Fraser sits down, turning the diamond over in his hand, a smirk forming on his lips. It's a silent acknowledgement of the game they played, one built on wit, strategy, and a mutual understanding of the gray areas between right and wrong. For all their differences, the detective and the criminal share a rare respect for each other's intelligence and resolve. The camera lingers on Fraser's thoughtful expression as he places the diamond on his desk. The world outside his window hums with the life of the city, unaware of the secret battles fought within its walls. The screen fades to black, leaving the audience to ponder the moral complexities of justice, power, and the brilliance of Dalton Russell's perfect crime.